Okay guys, I am going to show you how to get started on your altered book project. This is an old library book, and I'll be passing these out in class, so don't worry if you don't have one. But if you do have an old book that is a hardcover, it doesn't need to be a hardcover, that you want to use, you're welcome to use it. You don't have to use it, but one of mine, but I wouldn't make it just a super thick book like an encyclopedia or textbook or anything like that. That is old. I would keep it a moderate size for this project, because if it's too big, that's just going to be a lot to have to kind of either rip pages out of because it's too thick, or you might feel like you have to add more sections or something just because of the size of it. So I would keep it a moderate size. Again, it needs to be hardcover if you're going to use your own. Now, some books have like the shiny stuff on it. This is, I don't know if you can kind of tell, but this has got some shiny on it. We need to get rid of this, which we don't necessarily have to do right now because we're not going to work on our cover for a while. But if you have it and you want to go ahead and take it off, you can go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and take this bit of shiny off. And if it, obviously this is going to rip up some of this book here, but it's okay because I'm going to be doing something completely different to this book. So not a problem right now. That was the only thing I was a little bit worried about, was that maybe the tape was holding some of this together. But again, I think we can make that work. But if you can tell that taking this off is doing more damage than good, then it might not, before you take it all the way off, you might stop and ask me whether or not it's worth it. Because we can still always cover it up. I feel like glue and things like that just don't adhere as well, and paint and stuff does not adhere as well to the surface if it's got this shiny stuff on there. So now this side, I could tell this piece of tape is clearly here to hold this book together, so I'm not going to remove that. But so anyways, I have my book. I've got my shiny stuff off where I need it off. We're not touching the cover for a while, so I'm not worried about it. Now, the past few times I've done this project, I would always have kids start by separating out their sections, but I read somewhere that it's a good idea to go ahead and remove every 5th page out of the book. That way, because we are going to be adding some 3D elements to it, we are going to be binding it and kind of putting a little bit more stress on the spine than it normally should have. So by removing every 5th page, it's going to help relieve some of that stress on the spine. So I had already divided this up, but we'll talk about that again. I'm ahead of the game on this, but what you'll do is you'll go through and every 5th page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to try to carefully rip out. And you probably would do better to maybe use run a scissor along it, not too hard, just enough to kind of let that just come out. We want to try to keep it as clean as possible. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. Now I'm not going to sit here and do this through the whole video, but that's probably what you need to do next. So after you do that, you can pause this video right now and continue that before moving on, or you can just finish the video and come back to this step. But I do think that it would be wise that you remove those 5 pages, or every 5th page, and then don't throw these out, because this would actually turn into a great layer later. You can rip this up and, paint it. You could paint it, rip it up, and apply it again. So hang on to this scrap paper. This could be really cool for another section, or maybe even an independent study something later. So hang on to those. Those would be useful. And even if you don't want to keep them at the end of this project, I might want you to give them to me so I can keep them for use in later projects. So hang on to those for me. So anyways, so let's just say I have gone through and I have already torn out every 5th page. So now what I want to do, and if you are looking at the written instructions for this project, on that first page, I mentioned that you should have 5, like divide this up into 5 sections. So that would actually, it's 5 spreads. So that would actually mean you need 6 groups of paper because they're going to open up into 5 sections. All right. I think if you were here in class and you got the printout of that project, then you probably got the copy of the paper that said just 5. And then I realized the mistake I made, and I was like, you need 6. Okay, so 6 sections, somewhat equally the same size. And again, do this after you take out every 5th page. Okay. And if you don't want to do every 5th page right at the beginning, you could probably do it as you work on each section. I don't see why that wouldn't be a problem. It's just the only thing is you may not remember to do it later. So it would be better probably just to do it right now. Also, I would keep in mind that this is spread 1, spread 2, spread 3, spread 4, spread 5. Okay, so remember spread 3, 1, 2, 3. Your third spread is going to have that secret door. Okay, so here's my finished example that I did a secret door. Now, you don't have to have your door open like I did. I had this bound together already, and then afterwards I decided, oh, that'd be cool if I use this as kind of like a hinge, and I created a door. Your door doesn't have to act the same way mine does. You can have it more cut out, and then you can fold paper open in the middle, and you could place it wherever you want. But it would probably be a good idea to kind of, at least in your third spread, however you're going to open it up, you might allow a little bit more extra paper in those sections so that you can allow for that cut out and still have kind of a stable section. So this is how thick this side is with my door, and I about split it in the middle, I think, of where it hinges. I need to fix that. Yeah, that's kind of sad. So anyways, you just want to make sure that you have enough thickness there for your door when you divide up your third spread. Fourth spread shouldn't be too bad, but your 5th spread will have your window. So again, you might make sure you have a little bit extra thickness in maybe one of the sides so that you can allow for that window to be cut in. And it doesn't have to be super thick, and really, I don't think I cut mine in super thick on this one. So really, whatever you do, allow yourself. You can keep them all the same thickness if you prefer, and then you'll just have to be careful when you cut into your layers as to how much room you still have for each of those. So again, let me repeat. We are taking off the shiny if you got it. Then we are going to tear out every 5th page, preferably throughout the book. And again, using kind of a little scissor to help you just slide along it to keep it kind of an easier tear would be a good idea. And then divide it up into 6 different sections. And after you have that, then if you know you want like the same kind of binding on all of your sections, like my Italy book does. Hold on, let me grab that real fast. So my Italy book, I wanted it to be more of a unified look than my other one. So I just have the same thing on all my bindings. And I just have a hole punch in the top and the bottom, and then I have it tied together with this kind of like gold string to kind of make it a little bit more friffy. Friffy, I don't even think that's a word, but then this one each section was a very different, so I wanted it to look different. Now, I try to keep the whatever material I use for my bindings to tie in with kind of the theme of the spread, sort of. So this one I just glued, so I don't really have anything there. I glued each individual page together, which does make it hard, which you can do. But I did that, and then and I kind of did these two. I worked in kind of an odd order on this, and I noticed as I was gluing all three of these sections together that it was starting to put stress on my spine. And so the remainder sections I chose not to do that just because it did that. But I also did not take every fifth page out of this. So I feel like that would probably help not put as much stress on the spine that way. But it just kind of depends what you're wanting to do. Do you want it to be hard and stiff, or do you want it to be a little bit bendy? So that's what we do next, is we kind of determine what we're going to do. And again, you can hole punch them and thread stuff through. You can hot glue every single page together. You can take hot glue. I've had some students in the past take hot glue and then sprinkle glitter on the hot glue. I wouldn't just leave it bare hot glue though. That won't look very good. So if you're going to do that, just make sure you have something to kind of make it look nicer. So that's what we're going to do now. I would suggest, I do think it would be better to bind all of your sections before we start on spread one, but if you're not quite sure how you want to bind the remainder, you don't really have to. I would at least bind these two, okay, because this is spread one right here. So let's say you're going to hole punch your first two sections, and you're going to I might need to turn that other light off. And then, anyways, I lost my train of thought. You're going to hole punch these sections, and then you're going to thread stuff through. What you want to do is, because I have some single hole punches that I've had a couple teachers lend to me because I didn't have enough for everybody. But what you're not going to be able to punch through all that at once. So you're going to have to probably break this down into like a couple different groups. So say I want to punch a hole here. I'm going to show you how to do this so that all the other papers will line up correctly. So I have my hole here. I'll go ahead and do one in the middle. I'm just going to eyeball it. And then say I'm going to do one down here. But I'm also, if I'm going to do a several different, what do I want to say? Several different holes, then I will also maybe want to do my three spread out like that, and then kind of split the middle. And split the middle. And honestly, all these little, it would work better if I got it in the right spot. This hole punch doesn't seem to keep all the little dots inside the little container there. But you could even reuse these somehow. So you may not want to throw those out. Maybe put them in a little container and keep them, and you can maybe paint them, cover them in paint or something and sprinkle them, or maybe don't cover them in paint, and then when you have a painted background, you can kind of sprinkle them on for a layer. So you could reuse those. So anyways, so say I've got this much of my section hole punched through, but I want to make sure that the remaining parts of my section line up with these holes so that they all line up. So I'm going to kind of put together my section again, and what I do, this is my whole section on this half, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this back flat, and then I'm going to kind of mark with my pencil where my hole goes. Okay, and that should mark through, yeah, there you go, it marks through to where I need to line it up. So that's how you're going to, if you're going to do the hole punch route. I still don't know if I could get all those in there. I don't think I can, so I'm going to do. So anyways, that's how you would do that. And that's probably as far as we're going to go in this video. So you're going to, again, take any shiny stuff off, tear out every 5th page, then divide into 6 different sections, maybe keeping in mind, you don't have to, but maybe keeping in mind a little extra thick on your 3rd spread and your 5th spread, since they have the window and the door in them. And then you're going to start binding your sections together, however you're going to do it. But again, if you don't know what you're going to do for how you're going to want to bind the spread 2, 3, 4, and 5, just start by binding at least the 1st spread on both right and left side. So, all right, that's as far as we're going to go today, and let me know if y'all have any questions.